Hey y'all. So I'm here trying to show you the setup I use for lake trout fishing and a little bit about shore fishing for lake trout in the state of Vermont. So basically on Lake Champlain, before the water warms up past 50 degrees, lake trout will swim in the shallows searching for bait fish, and on a good day you can catch them fishing from shore. It's a little bit difficult, but it does work, and I've done it. It's a lot of fun, but some days are going to be an absolute grind out there. Kind of getting into those, like, some days will be nice in like the spring. Could be, like pretty windy and like a little cold, like in the fall and whatnot. They definitely have their weird feeding schedules. Like, there's been times where around like 4 in the afternoon has been better. It's the only time that they've bit, but it's just they're very fun to fish for, but it's definitely a little tougher than other fish. But getting right into the setup, I have an Akuma Salilo 8.6 medium light, and it's a really great fishing rod. It's what I would absolutely recommend for fishing for lake trout. You definitely want as long of a rod as you can get fishing from shore with being like reasonable, because you're going to be making long casts, and having something that's medium light as opposed to like a medium or medium heavy, you want the sensitivity. You're going to be using lures like the Panther Martin, where you're going to be like, you kind of want to feel the blade action and any like little ticks of them like biting or anything. It also helps fighting a larger fish. When you have a bigger fishing rod, there will be more bend in the fishing rod, and will work better with a lighter fishing line. When you are actually fighting a fish, you can use the curvature of the fishing rod to help balance out the fighting of the fish, if that makes sense. So for a reel, I really like using this PC Fun Viper 4000, and it's a really solid reel for the $40 price point. You're getting a really good drag for fighting larger fish. Like this reel, I looked into it and did the research, and a lot of people use it in saltwater applications. And I've heard rumors of there being 20-pound plus lake trout in Lake Champlain. Like, I've seen some pretty big ones. The one I got was around 10 pounds. But you definitely want something that's going to be a little bit good if you can. I mean, you could really just slap any reel you got, but definitely if you're going to like make a rod dedicated to lake trout, you want something that's going to have pretty decent drag on it. For a line, I'm using the classic Berkeley Big Game 8-pound test. It's like the best stuff there is. It's just the clear line, but you could definitely get away using one of the different colors of line for sure. I like the 8-pound because it casts really far, and it's like a very capable fishing line. Really, it's probably more like 10-pound line because it's Big Game monofilament line. It's always, what they rate it as, it's always a little bit more. But you could go with braid and like a 15-pound or 20-pound and then just use a leader. It's going to be more work, but you would just need to adjust the drag and such. But mono has its advantages in that there's like that bit of stretch that you can get from fighting a large fish, and how that stretch works with what I was saying before with the curvature of the rod and the lighter fishing line. It just like it works together really well. And it's just easier for like tying knots. You don't have to do as many like connection knots. It's good stuff. Like, I don't really think lake trout are very, very line shy. Like, they are to a degree, but my friend has caught one on a steel leader before, and maybe they were just really hungry that day, but who knows. For lures, it should come as no surprise that nothing beats a Panther Martin number 9, in my opinion. They work really well for some reason. It's just that simple black and gold, and the way that it vibrates and shimmers through the water, it's almost irresistible for them. And it may not be on the first cast. You gotta like really cast out, give it like at least like 10, 20, you gotta hit it for a little bit, and then you'll get one if it's the right time for them. But I've seen other people use blade baits, paddle tails, and jerkbait looking lures. I've also seen my friend successfully jig up a lake trout over a bridge using a wacky worm for bass. He didn't catch it, but it was biting at it, and it was pretty wild to see. We could actually see the lake trout come up and like kind of hit at it and investigate it. Spoons would also probably work. There's lots of different things that you can use, but those are my best. Panther Martin number 9, that's my go-to. For other gear, I would say a net is a very crucial device. They are extremely slick and slippery fish. One time I lost one because it slipped out of my hands while I was on some rocks, and it snapped my line and swam off with my lure, and it sucked. So if I had a net, it wouldn't have happened. Like, just plain and simple. And it's an easy thing to bring. So much of this, this hobby sport, it's just like bringing the right equipment with you and making the right gear decisions. It's, sometimes it just comes down to that. But also a bike, because I'm, live in a convenient area where I can access some of the water and get down to the water with a bike, and I just put the rod on the back of the bike or in my backpack. The Akuma Salilo breaks down. It's a 2-piece. It makes it pretty easy to transport, so I just have these like couple pieces of Velcro that hold it together, and it's pretty nice. But overall, they are a very rewarding fish to fish for, especially if you hook into one. Like, they fight hard, and it's like, at first it just feels like a dead weight, and then you're like, whoa, here we go, we got something big. And it's very exciting. It's also a lot of opportunity to hook into something like a smallmouth or pike, or even a salmon are out there. It would be really cool. At least that's what's out here in Lake Champlain in Vermont. I must stress though, it is a grind, and it's not easy, and there's going to be tough days out there, but if you just get out there enough times, like, you will get it, and you'll get your fish. I'm not sure if they're good eating or not. I haven't eaten one personally. The ones that I caught were pretty big, so I just let them go. I love eating rainbow trout and brook trout up here, and perch, and sunfish and bluegill, so I may try a lake trout, but I'm gonna wait for one that's like a right size for one. But if I had access to a smoker, that would probably change things up. I would probably keep more lake trout than I do. But yeah, it's just something to think about. I hope this video can help somebody out there and maybe get them out there to try for lake trout. There's probably only a couple more weeks left before they move out into deeper water for the summer. So yeah, thanks again for watching, and hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't. It would really appreciate it. And yeah, take care.